Hello. This message is to all the lawyers and politicians in Tallahassee, a city which IMO should have zero jurisdiction over South Florida because of the fact that you are how many steps away? It would probably take me like 2-3 months to walk up there. Everything south of I-4 should be, our government should be Miami. All right. If Henry Flagler were alive, and his buddy, what was his name?
Hello, it's future me. I'm editing or watching this video after
banking.
I put it together, and I recall the name, JP Morgan.
You guys know what I'm talking about.
First part of the name. I don't know what
his buddy that
I
pretty
have
much
to look it up. I don't want to.
Built the railroad out west that went out to the west side of this country. I know his name is on the tip of my tongue. It's literally everywhere. But anyways, that's neither near nor there. They're both dead, DED. But they did have a huge impact on this society, this culture, this country, period. If it wasn't for Henry Flagler, Miami would not have been incorporated in the late 19th century like it was. It would have been much later. The South Florida Keys would have never been populated. Well, somebody else may have done it, but it may have taken a lot longer than that, because Henry Flagler stepped up to the plate, and he did so at just the right time. Because keep in mind, around 1916, give or take, 1915, broke out the First World War, which would have had an impact on all projects having to do with the development of a country, infrastructure, etc. But anyways, this message to Tallahassee, I said it in writing, so I'm just saying it now verbally. And I have the time because I'm walking to the store, and look how many steps it takes. I've been recording for how long now, and this is just walking to the nearest store that actually has prices that I can somewhat afford from whatever little money I make from whatever chores or little side jobs or gig jobs I get. Anywho, I'm straying off topic. All I ask is, if you guys are gonna lock me up for whatever dumb reason you guys are going to do it, please do so after our daughter at least finishes her studies, her formal education, and or gets a job, and or marries, so I can hand her off. Okay? Because even though on paper I don't exist, right now I am physically entering this place to buy her food that she had that she personally requested. Hi there. So I'll document it, and I've documented a whole bunch of other shit on Patreon, just to prove the fact that etc. etc. You guys know what I'm trying to prove. But she's camera shy, so the most I get from her is sometimes you might see her hand, or you might hear her voice in the background, okay? But trust me, she's there, okay? And if you guys don't want to take my word for it, I'll say a couple names out loud. Marsha Wagner, Samantha Faltz. What else? All right, this is what she asked for. She likes this craft, and she likes the big one, 2x more, so 2 times more, which is, those prices out there are deceiving. This $431 should be for this. The spirals. Where's the spirals? Right there, which is on clearance, so it's not selling well. This $431. Wait a minute, that's not on clearance, because this is also on clearance. Essentially, these both are the same amount of content, 3.5 ounces. Actually, this has more. This has 4.1 ounces. This has 3.5 ounces, but it costs more. It makes absolutely no sense. But anywho, that's not what I'm talking about. So I said 2 names, and if I have to say a third name, and this is not including my parents, okay? or my siblings. You could talk to them too. If I have to say a third name, I'll say the child themselves, even though they have no right to legally speak. You know what? She's a human being, okay? Yes, she is a child. That's why we are still parenting her, and we will continue to parent her until she is dependent. I'm never, or married, whatever.
Apologies, I meant to say independent.
Oh, the Sprite. She wanted Sprite too. So with that being said, that's all I ask. Please at least wait till she finishes her formal studies, gets married, or starts, finishes high school and starts working. That's all I ask of her. As long as I'm her dad, I ask her, finish high school. After you graduate from high school, then you can either choose join the workforce and start paying rent, or continue your studies, and we will do our best to continue to support you. That way you can focus on just that. All right, I'm about to face this nice young lady, the cashier, so thank you. Bye. All right. Yeah, the recording I had made already, which conveyed the message, which I kindly made a request to just lock me up after our daughter finishes just one or achieves one of three things: either finishes formal studies, enters workforce, finishes university, enters workforce, or gets married to someone who finished their university and is able to, which I know is rare nowadays, sustain a household dependently with just one source of income, etc., etc. One of those three options. Please, I ask kindly, just wait for that, because I do a lot of the parenting. And I guess part of the reason why I'm shooting this video is because I just finished speaking to this nice lady who was talking to another nice lady outside of the store, which I went and got food and drinks for the princess, mi nenita. And she said that even charter schools, you don't really have to pay a tuition for, that the government subsidizes it. So I'm going to inquire about that, because there's a middle school and our beautiful young lady is finishing up in this school, which I know mom doesn't like her when I put this out there, but well, there, you can't even really see it. That's the marquee. But yeah, I know mom doesn't like it when I make that public knowledge, but she never walks alone by herself. I always take her to and bring her back, with the exception that I don't, and when I don't, it's her paternal grandfather, my father, who does me the favor. I ask him kindly, can you please take her to school? Which has happened, because there's times where I suffer from generalized anxiety disorder, and at times, based on the environment and nature, I also suffer from panic attacks, or had, because I take medication now. Praise be, that doesn't occur. It does not an occurring thing in life. So, and that's another thing that gets me angry about where I live, the society that I live. We had an epidemic, which is totally wild, because our predecessors, the people that you guys, the people, all of you making the laws, your predecessors, they're long dead. Just like the people that I spoke about a couple minutes earlier, Henry Flagler and the other guy, his name's on the bank. I forget what his name was. Not Schwab, the other guy, what's his name? Morgan. Whatever, I think Morgan is his name, Mr. Morgan. They were both big. Morgan made the railroad going out west, if I'm not mistaken, or he funded it. And Flagler had his vision to make to go all the way down to the Keys. He had envisioned originally, if I recall correctly, a port at Key West, which the railroad did make it all the way to the Keys initially. They were successful at completing it before his death, and he was able to ride on it. He was one of the first people that rode on it. But then soon after, a hurricane came and destroyed like that 7-mile bridge, which obviously is an important infrastructure to reach the Key West, or Conch Capital, whatever you want to call it. Anywho, so yeah, I spoke to a lady. She said that students don't have to pay tuition to go to charter school. And so I'm going to try to see if I can inquire about that. Because if we can get our princess into charter school, and there are people that gave me negative feedback about calling our daughter princess, and my arm hurts. I don't know if my face isn't framed. I'm a terrible YouTuber. I don't give a fuck. This is broadcasting yourself. What is there to that? You don't have to have any talent. Nobody has to watch this. I do appreciate if people do watch my content. I would appreciate it a lot if someone left a comment. I do appreciate comments, actually. People have left me comments, and I appreciate that very, very much. I don't care if it's good, bad. If you want to troll me, you want to give me a compliment, it does not matter at all. It's fun. This is the only social media that I do. Anyways, I can give off all this verbal diarrhea because, as you can see, the closest supermarket and the one that was closer was still about over a half-kilometer walk from our home. So you figure it was at least 800. It was probably about 1,000 meters at the least from our home.
Watching this
and
back,
I applied to that
I did
just
ask
yesterday. Yesterday I made 2 applications.
One of the applications, for her middle school,
I just
and I said at least a half kilometer, and then I said 1,000 meters. 1,000 meters is a kilometer. I'm an idiot.
Mr. Samuel, I said, hey man, give me a job, Guevara. I told him straight up, and I've been telling him for the longest. And then I also told another guy who's been there. His parents are from Cuba. I don't know if he was born in Cuba or not. His name is Jason. I don't know his last name. Yo le pregunté a él también, por favor, Jason, hazme o Joaquín, si quieres ser formal y hablar español, hazme el favor, dile al señor Samuel que me dé un trabajo. Tengo una niñita de 11 años y nunca me ha visto trabajar formalmente. The only job I've had was being a direct store delivery vendor, and for that, unless you own the territory, it's an informal job. Unless you start your own corporation and you make enough money that you can actually pay taxes. I was not. I was working like part-time, and it wasn't like every single week because some weeks I wasn't feeling well, and also it's very physical. So at the end of the day, there are 2 factors, at least for me, that will determine whether you are motivated or you are not motivated to get your ass out of bed and go out and work. 1, are you passionate? Do you enjoy what you do? Does it make you feel fulfilled, like either in a spiritual, mental, physical, emotional, any type of way whatsoever? Is it something that actually makes your life feel fuller, makes your life like it adds value to it, it makes you feel like a valuable asset, it enriches you? That's number 1. And number 2, are you getting compensated fair enough for the amount of sacrifice that you're putting into it? Because any job, even if it's something you love to do, a job is still a job. Something that you love to do and you enjoy doing it, that's called a hobby. The difference between a hobby and a job is a hobby, you do not have to go in consistently with 5 days a week. I don't know what we're still doing with a 5-day work week. We are so backwards. Anyways, you do not have to do it at least 50 weeks out of the year, at least 32 hours out of the week, even if it's part-time, at least 40 weeks out of the year. Well, no, what is that, 12-week vacation? 4, 8, 12. Oh, that's 3 months. No. All right, at least 4, 8, at least 44 weeks out of the year, right? 20 hours a week. That is still a job, all right? And if you don't believe me, you dumb fuck, get out there and fucking work, okay? To all the people that tell me go get a job, you know what? I just applied yesterday. There's one place that I sent in a request to and I didn't follow through. One is a far walk. There's so many other businesses from here to there. 2, I know that they're gonna pay minimum wage. And 3 is working directly with items that give off chemicals in the air, which then touch your organs, mainly your epidermis and your olfactory, yada yada yada. Which I don't think, for the amount of pay that they give, it's worth exposing yourself to all of that. And also, if you want to get a good sense of whether you think you'll be a good fit in the place or not, look at the other people that work there. Are they smiling? Do they seem content? How's the customer service? How is the service in general? When you go to a place and all you see are not even one single smile, and it sounds like when they say please and thank you, like it sounds like they have to put in like they have to put in so much like effort to say that, just to say those phrases, then that's like a red flag, okay? So people tell me to get a job. I've worked plenty, okay? The IRS, when I was trying to apply for disability, they didn't want to include a job that I worked for at least a half a decade, full time. And why? Because I started when I was underage, but I worked there till I was at least 24, and I continued working for that same type of company until I was at least like 30, 31, 32, 33, give or take. I forget it. Because at the very end, I was doing mostly like consulting, meaning that I was getting paid, and I did not report that revenue to the IRS because it was minimal. It wasn't even $5,000 a year. If I was to make more than $5,000 a year, then I start paying attention and say, holy shite, do I have to pay taxes? Because the IRS, they have their field people, which is just as bad as dealing with the FBI, or maybe not the CIA, because the CIA, they're just straight up corrupt from at least their marketing perspective, at least like what people talk and say about them, and then their whole previous past actions and the consequences which had followed from them. Anyhow, I'm here. Goodbye. I don't even know what I said. Oh yeah, I gotta find out about the charter school, because if that is the case, that there is no tuition and we could just enroll her, I could walk her there every morning. It'll be a slightly longer walk than going to her 5th grade school, but it's only longer by like 5 minutes. Thank you. Ciao.
Again, thank you for getting to this part of the video. This is what I picked up for the princess. Yes, please subscribe, like, and comment. Of course, interaction always is good for the channel. Check out the description. Yada yada yada. Thanks.